we talked about Oliver Ekman-Larsson a couple weeks ago. I'm not like there. Dreger talked about insider trading a couple of days yesterday or a couple of days ago. There's two teams, and we'll get to both of them. I'm going to start with this one. I'm not saying I called it, but I did. The Boston Bruins have seemed to put some interest in Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That is going to be interesting. We talked about last episode that Jake DeBrusk could potentially be on the move depending on Taylor Hall and a couple other things. Man, OEL to the Bruins. That scares me.
It does. Me. Like, just when we think they're on the brink of, collapsing, this kind of happens. I remember when they didn't make the playoffs and everyone said they were done. And then there's a team that consistently competes for the finals.
It's ridiculous.
Patrice Bergeron's the Steve Nash of the NHL. He just keeps getting better with age.
That is a great comparison. Let me throw this other tweet. This is from Frank Saravelli. This is, I believe, yesterday or 2 days ago. Sounds like there has indeed been significant interest in teams trading for Torrey Krug's rights. Obviously, we talked about it. RA from Spin Chicklets brought that up Sunday or Saturday night. My belief, and this is continued the quote, my belief is last offer from the Bruins to Krug's camp was 6 years, $6.5 million. I don't know about you. It just seems a tad low.
For me, I agree. But I think that's like a Bruins contract, right? It's like, hey, you want to win? You want to be part of this core? Then take the discount.
That's practically the same as I believe Brad Marchand signed a 6-year deal. I know David Pastrnak signed a 6-year deal. I mean, we'll see what, like we talked about his trading rights being traded away as well.
I don't know.
I
don't know. He's a great player. It's just he fits the Bruins so well that I think he's going to excel in other teams. But yeah, it just in terms of like the money that's being offered to him, I think it's again like it's something that they expected him to take because there's other cases on the team where they did the same thing. These guys that they dedicated themselves to the team long term and they took well below their market value.
Right. And it's not necessarily that they're a cap-strapped team. They currently have $14.4 million in cap space. They have to re-sign Krug and DeBrusk are their big guys. Other than that, like David Krejci comes off the books next season. They'll probably re-sign that. I don't think he's going to make 7.25. Andre Kasha, Nick Ritchie, and Brandon Carlo are your big biggish UFA guy, RFA guys, as well as Sean Corrali is going to be a UFA, and we talked about that guy. Like that guy's a presence in their bottom six. Oof, like I don't know. Like I feel like you lose Torrey Krug, then what do you have on the left side? Now we're having the same discussion that we had a couple episodes ago. I guess OEL is like, oh my God, that'd be disgusting.
It has to be simultaneous. If they're like losing Krug, like it's a foregone conclusion he's gone, then like they gotta trigger the trade. Like OEL like the same day or the day after.
Unless like there has to be some crazy circumstances where both are on the team, and if they can bring back both guys, I don't necessarily think I obviously Jake DeBrusk is part of that deal. I don't think Zdeno Chara comes back at that point. Like I think he he could retire. I'm just pulling up. No, I was gonna say David Krejci might be part of that deal. Just I don't know why, but he has a cash of $7 million. That Arizona's not going to pay that. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think it's just the past. What's gonna happen with that? Where I remember when I'm gonna show my age again, but I remember when Martin Havlat, when he was an All-Star, left in the summer of 2009, the Chicago Blackhawks, a team that that already went to the conference finals and lost to the Red Wings, and was about to break out the next year and win the cup. The same time, he's like, "I'm leaving. I'm going to the Minnesota Wild." After they didn't give him the money, the Chicago didn't give him the money he wanted, and then right away, Marian Hossa signs with the Blackhawks for that illegal, what is now considered an illegal contract.
I love those illegal contracts. Those are just.
But it just reminds me of that.
They were a bloody big deal.
Yeah, I just remember that was the off-season drama that year, where a guy that I felt was the same way as Torrey Krug, where he fit into that culture, that lineup so well, and suddenly when it's something over dollars, he gets flipped out really quickly. Like he signs to a different team, and they're like, "All right, we quickly get your replacement."
I mean, if the Boston Bruins can do it, the Boston Bruins can do it. I've talked before. I don't know what necessarily the Bruins have that the Coyotes want. Like the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, Jake DeBrusk, young forward that they can add to their roster, and a first-round pick.
Zachary Sayanshin.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, they had other...
And another defensive prospect, maybe one of those guys, Ukko Vakanainen, I think.
I'm happy you said. I didn't know how to say his name, so I'm happy you said it.
There's Jakob Zaboral. I don't know if he's going to be anything.
Two guys I found, one is a center, one's a defenseman. I think Jack Stadnicka, I know.
Yeah.
He's a Bruins guy though. He's a guy that I think he will stick because he just plays their game so well. That big body guy that could also skate. And I'm thinking of Jeremy Lauzon.
That's a good pick.
He's a good guy where, he has the potential to kind of be a regular now, but it's just at the time they just had too many defensemen.
Right.
So maybe there could be a package there. Not sure.
Well, I guess we'll see when it comes to OEL and the Boston Bruins. The second team that Darren Dreger brought up on Insider Trading. And I got some other tidbits on this team too. The Edmonton Oilers. If there is a team that confuses me more, it's the Edmonton Oilers. At least Boston had a couple pieces that they could willingly move and not be impacted. What on earth is Edmonton going to give up?
Right away, the way I see it is they're going to try to measure how they are in terms of a window of what are we going to provide now for Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Are they at the age now that they feel that, hey, we can compete? And I think if they can, the only way they get OEL is if they trade an Evan Bouchard or a Philip Broberg. And I know it's a big ask.
Is it worth it?
It is if it's not the only move they do and they say, hey, we're done, because I really feel that now the pressure's on them. I don't see them running it back with the roster they had last year when they think they could really compete with it. They lost to the Blackhawks.
They can't run it back. It's just not allowed.
Because what I'm thinking now is in the minors, what they have, guys that are emerging, but they're not exactly the game-breaking, names that I expect the Coyotes to kind of want. One I just think is Raphael Lavoie. He was a guy who was supposed to be in the first round, fell to the second, tore it up in the juniors, made it to real juniors. Love the guy. But then they also Tyler Benson, who's been a bit of a project lately. They still believe in him to be a legitimate top 9 center, but he's a guy that he's had also injury problems in the past.
Yeah, that's true. If I'm Arizona and the idea around trading Darcy Kemper was we're going to recoup some picks, and that idea kind of has seemed to die down at this point, or at least there's no leaks. If OEL is being moved, you have to recoup some picks as well. And Edmonton has the 14th overall pick this year.
Hmm.
If you're Arizona, and I think you can get someone decent at 14, maybe not NHL ready this year, or maybe not the year after that, probably 2 years from now. It depends. Obviously, it depends on who that guy is. Like, I really think that you would. Okay, let me put it this way: would you move the 14th overall pick, and is that enough for OEL, or is there more to that?
I think if they do, they could do something. Like, I think if they really feel that Broberg and Bouchard are part of that blue line long term, or these guys you want to bring along slowly, if you use that 14th pick, like you could subside the other part of it, like mitigate some part of it. I think, they will still have to give up someone like Raphael Lavoie, I think, in a package with that first round pick. But, I'd rather, if I'm Edmonton, I'd rather do that than give up your top defensive prospects of these guys who are going to be part of the core long term.
Because I think we're having a very different conversation about Edmonton's decor if they don't have to give up Broberg or Bouchard.
Mm.
Because now we're talking, we have Darnell, let's start. OEL, Darnell Nurse, Oster Clefbaum, Adam Larson, Ethan Bear, and then you have Broberg and Bouchard. Now, I don't necessarily know if I think Bouchard played a few games in the NHL last year. Or I guess no, he didn't. Maybe he was playing. He played the year before. He played 7 games in 18-19 with one. He had 1 point, but then they sent him back to juniors. I don't know. I think we're having a very different conversation with OEL in the Oilers lineup if they don't have to get rid of anyone on the back end of significance.